Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have, for the first time, for the last time, the finale for The Thing in the Basement is Getting Better at Mimicking People. Or Titipabamp.
Or part final, technically.
Yes. Well, it does say it's the final, so.
Yes.
But yes, we are on the final stretch of this year's Nosleep Bember. So, as we've mentioned before, Titipabamp is on Reddit Nosleep. It was a December runner-up for last year. For their Nosleep of the month, and it's by ThatExoGuy. I guess that X guy. Spoilers for the end of this.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with that X guy go and give it to you. What?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not DMX. So rest in power.
You never
yes.
know.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can check it out on Reddit Nosleep. The Thing in the Basement is Getting Better at Mimicking People. And let's do our final initial recommendation.
Because that makes sense.
Yes. So I'm gonna recommend it, the whole thing. So
I'm going to partially recommend it.
all right.
Also, the whole thing.
And I will recommend it. Probably the whole thing.
Yeah, I meant recommend this part, but also the story as a whole, all 4 parts that we've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is what I meant. Yeah. All right. Well, with that out of the way, let's dive into the rundown and then find out why we give those recommendations. So, Clancy, after not getting a reply from the potentially dead / captured / non-existent Detective Marcus, sends out a text to Detective Marcus's phone as a way of sending any mimic who finds that phone on a wild goose chase so that Clancy can go home and catch some Z's. He gets home and sets up a bug-out bag before going to his room, barricading it, but leaving the window unlocked so that he can make a quick getaway before crashing hard on his bed for a few hours. However, while he's sleeping, he dreams or has a nightmare of something approaching him in his bed and into his head. So he wakes up throwing fists right into his dad's face. His parents are home early from their trip to the Grand Canyon after Amy called them. That was fast. Believing them to be mimics, he escapes through the window and towards the wilderness outside of town while being pursued by a mimic that he fears is the one that's going to replace him. And then also the cops when they show up as he's approaching the town limits. The cops are chasing him, not the mimic's going to replace him and then also the cops. Sorry.
I mean, you don't know that.
I mean, the cops may very well be mimics themselves.
But they might not be.
They might not be as well. It's very, again, it keeps you guessing. Anyway, he's captured in the woods by the cops, but manages a daring escape and even steals the cop's car. Before driving out of town, he races over to the cemetery, needing some kind of proof that he isn't in fact wrong and going insane. He needs some proof that there are mimics, that all of this isn't just in his head. So he goes out to the cemetery to find his sister's tombstone. He finds it blank. Feeling defeated and confused, he slumps down, but then his sister pipes up from behind him, which has him getting back up quickly and whirling around to confront her. She manages to convince him that he too went a little crazy, and after smoothing things out with the cops, planning to get help the next day with Sarah and Amy drive Clancy to Sarah's place where his parents are. While their dad remarks about all of this was from the basement and apparently a fear of the dark. By the way, the basement apparently isn't burned anymore. It's perfectly fine. Sarah walks over to the doorway to the basement, and soon Clancy does too, looking down at the well-lit basement below. Again, unburnt or untouched or unscorched. Clancy remarks about the basement to his family, but they all suddenly become silent. And then the trap is enacted, and he's pushed down into the basement, and the door is locked. He's still down there as he sends these last words out to Reddit. He's weak and hurting, and he fears that he can feel eyes upon him down in the basement as mimics are just waiting to usurp him. He warns to stay away from his unidentified town and not to believe any more words from him, for they may be from a mimic. Finn. So that was the last entry of The Thing in the Basement is getting better at mimicking people. Now we shall move on to Everyone Tolerates the Grand Inquisitions. At this point, I've got one. So this is when Marcus goes up to it, gets back to his house after leaving the text and all that stuff. My room was up on the first floor, but the jump down wouldn't be too bad. So I think this is a typo, because wait, is your window just really high up on the first floor? Or was this a typo, and did you actually mean the second floor, not the first floor?
So, unfortunately, the issue here is it's not described. So,
Yeah.
basically, if you think about, you have the first floor, and then in some houses they have windows to the basement they can see out. So basically, there is a floor. Like, if you go out the window, you're actually falling a good floor amount.
Yeah, no, that's true. It depends on the elevation of the property. Like, is it a hill? So it's like, is the part of the basement exposed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, again, we don't know fully, but like, I feel like this could be easily fixed by just saying my room was up on the second floor, but the jump down wouldn't be too bad. Like, that would fix that instantly just by replacing first with second.
Or it's a regional dialect situation where people use ground floor as the main floor that you walk in on, and then the first floor is above it.
Yeah, that's true. We did come up with that, or we didn't come up with it, but we came across that before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the worst fucking, like, differential, though. Hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ground floor should be the first floor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's my Grammar Inquisition. So, Mikey, these stands for evil. What do you got?
All right. Well, I have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
It went by fast. However, and this time I finally had some dreams. And it was also only 10 p.m. or so, which meant I got 2 hours of sleep less than I bargained for. But then again, if I could lead it far enough away, I could take it on one-on-one. It felt like I was up against bloodhounds, not humans. It jumped from branch to branch, always within earshot, but never within sight. Or maybe they had other plans for me, something more nefarious. And that was something I could use. But one of them got a hold of my backpack, ripping it open and spilling my supplies everywhere. It was stupid and risky of us, but a friend let us drive his Jeep on the back roads a few times for fun. But before I did that, I wanted to do one final thing. It was very creepy at night, to put it mildly, a sea of headstones standing tall in the darkness. It was in the back of the cemetery, right next to her mother's. It was gone as well. It felt wrong. It felt so very wrong, but I didn't have it in me to fight anymore. It felt so strange, so surreal. And indeed, it was a normal room with nothing strange about it. But Sarah didn't answer me. It might be one of them. Finn.
Wow. That was very succinct, like even more so than my rundown. But also a little confusing because, like, what is chasing him?
Well, apparently, whatever was chasing him was what ripped his back. Wasn't the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as that happened, he's like, I should go for a ride with my friend in their Jeep.
Yeah.
But before I do that, I should go do this other thing.
Yeah.
And then he gets to the grave, and then there's no gravestone at all. Instead of just a blank gravestone, there's nothing there at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very confusing because it was even more disparate than some of the conjunction junctions or it stories we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Very fitting for the story about mimics and like who is what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for those unaware, Mikey does these strings of sentences to put them together into a story that sometimes yields hilarious results. And it's basically all the sentences that start with its, ands, or buts. Because there's always better words.
Indeed. All right, Gamer, you're up.
I got a couple. This is regarding the red herring message that he sends to Marcus's phone.
Yeah.
He sends, will do, I'll leave town right away. I'll be walking along the main road in case you can follow me. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense now that I read it out loud. But when I first read it, I was thinking that it should be in case you need to follow me, or in case you need to find me. It sounded like it was in case you can follow me.
Yeah, I'd say it's still okay the way it is, because it's also a text message. So,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, text messages by default are supposed to be like sometimes be kind of wonky or jank the way they are written. So it's actually the way the character texts.
It's the way the world texts, technically.
yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that can get a pass, but it just felt weird the first time.
That's fair. Yeah. In a perfect world, it should have been what you had in mind, but.
Mm-hmm. This next one, Dad went to the. This is after he punched him in the face accidentally. Dad went to the bathroom to patch up his busted lip, leaving me and Mom alone. He looked back at me for a split second before he closed the door, his gaze filled with anger and hatred. So the previous time that his dad showed emotion was right when he got punched, and he was like smiling at Clancy, and it kind of gave off the feeling of, "Ow, that hurt," but you were dreaming, so of course I can't blame you. And then all of a sudden, there's this anger and hatred that just comes out of nowhere.
I actually think it's supposed to. I assumed like the reason why there was hate and anger there that Clancy was seeing was because Clancy was either A, Dad is a mimic, and it was in that moment was showing his true colors, or B, Clancy thought that he thinks that his dad's a mimic because he thinks he sees his dad glaring at him angrily and such.
I think one way or another, the answer to any question is he's actually a mimic, or Clancy thinks he's a mimic. Those are the two answers to any question.
Yes.
But either way,
Yeah, that's how I saw it when I read that part. But yeah,
Well, me too, but like, I don't know if the story was trying to portray only one of those vibes or intentionally, or it's because like, let me reread that.
okay.
Did the story mean to portray only one of those vibes, like either like it's okay or angry, or is it trying to show that it's swapped? Because it didn't highlight the fact that his um emotion changed. If you know what I mean? It just
Kind
said
of.
that it did.
That's how a story tells you, though.
But like, wouldn't it be? It would highlight it more if it said like if it's meant to show, if this scene is meant to show his emotion changing for a split second, then it should say like in that last split second, his smile changed to a gaze of anger and hatred.
Well, no, because you don't see your because he turns around as he's like closing the door, and so in that second, that's when Clancy sees that his face is now this. Also, like a little bit after this, like his mom says, "Oh, you should apologize for hitting your dad so hard," or something like that. It's like, "Oh, he'll get over it," kind of thing. So like he was like kind of like there was like I think the story was trying to be very subtle with the sudden like is dad a mimic or is he just angry because it's like angry after the fact of being like punched by his kid, even though he was smiling, but he was smiling probably because like, oh good, my kid's awake. Also, ow. Like it's like, damn, this kid like fucking like punched me in the fucking lip. Like it's like you're happy in that moment, like once you realize your child is safe, but then like a few moments later you're in pain and you're like grimacing and like, I better get a fucking apology after after I get out of the bathroom. So like I think it was trying to be subtle of, again, a wishy-washy, not wishy-washy, but kind of wishy-washy of like, is he a mimic or is he just a sourpuss now because the pain's finally starting to get to him about like with his lip being punched. So
Okay.
okay.
Basically, the long story short of that is just I feel like it should be highlighted if if he's been angry the whole time. It's just like in that last split second. I don't know if it's like he turned around and he was fine, but then it's literally a split second where his face just snaps to being angry and then snaps back or something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
something
I can see it. Yeah.
fast, swapping to anger and hatred.
It kind of reminds me of from I don't know if you ever watched the movie The Dreamcatcher or Dreamcatcher by Stephen King, where the one character who's possessed by an alien is like his face is like super like kind of like dour and like stern, and then he just like you just said, like he just snaps to like a very pleasant smile and looks over to the character in like a split second. But I do agree. Like I do kind of get what you're going at. Is like you think there should be a little bit more description here. If that is the case of like that, there should be some kind of like the expression should be if the expression change is a hint that dad is either a mimic or just pissed. There should be some more descriptor there, right?
Yeah, basically, it's just because like it's listing it like it's. I'm really not doing a good job getting my point across here.
Sorry, man.
The second sentence is listing this like it's no big thing, but it's a dark contrast to the previous vibe that he's giving before.
Yeah. I just think it's being subtle, like too subtle, maybe.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But either way,
yeah,
he did change from just smiling and being like "ow" to being angry and hatred. So why not just put the word like changed or is something to signify that something's changed, other than just the description at the very end of that sentence.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I do agree. Like it's like that would, I feel like that would actually help. Like either that would give some more clarity as to like, something's either again something's changed like in dad. Either he's starting to get pissed off because like, ow, this really hurts, or I'm a mimic and I hate you.
Mm-hmm. But either way, I'll move on.
Okay, gamer, your point is valid.
All right.
Okay.
My last one is at the very, pretty close to the very end. The end of the line. I can't keep this up forever. I'm growing too tired and hungry. When I'll collapse, they'll get me. I'm sure of it. Pretty sure it should be when I collapse.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's also weak. It's the way the character types. No, okay, I'll play it.
If you're gonna pull that, this entire story
fucking thing, yes,
cannot be evaluated grammatically.
Cannot be criticized for the grammar because it's all immersion. Immerse me.
And he's been writing during duress this entire time.
Yeah. No, I get you. I was just playing. I do actually agree with you, gamer. I think it sound
like it.
I was just being a dick. I'm sorry. You guys are you guys are a dick to me all the time. I can't come back at you.
No, that's how bullying works.
Oh, is that what this is? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like no.
But anyways, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. So on to actual thoughts then. And I'm going to basically start off with the thing that you start off with there, gamer. So, will do. I'll leave town right away. I'll be waking. I'll be waking along. I'll be walking along the main road in case you can follow me. Hopefully, that was a convincing enough red herring. Sending them on a wild goose chase that would give me an hour or two to sleep. I desperately needed some of that to clear my mind so I could think straight. You go this way, I'll go home. Was immediately what I thought of when I read that. It's like,
yeah, you're not wrong.
I know, I know he's sleep deprived, but really, you're gonna use this diversion, this perfect opportunity to push the characters, move the characters away from you, to catch a measly 2 hours of sleep and not escape fucking town? Idiot. He is sleep deprived though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then this next thing here is I think right after that, it's like making any decisions, forming any plans in my current condition. It was a bad idea. I was aware of that much. So I made this plan to get sleep and clear my head to make a better plan if I didn't get grabbed before I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm still hung up on that choice of you go this way, I'll go home and sleep. Again, the story follows in its own footsteps of explaining the bad decisions or acknowledging the bad decisions that the character makes.
It's always 2020, and this whole story is being written in hindsight.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just again.
I'm just commenting on that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why that works so well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised more stories don't do that and have the character be like,
I'm not self-aware,
but this is what I did.
More stories need to be self-aware.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, moving on to the next thing here. Dad had some bare bones camping gear that he used to go fishing. He used to go fishing. So I could use that. Although it wasn't much, it would have been useful. I found it all stacked away in the garage. So I threw together a hasty bug-out bag to have it ready. This could have been a good tell that either the parents were missing due to the mimics, or they had actually went on a trip to the Grand Canyon. Since, while not always, generally from what I've heard about, Grand Canyon vacations usually involve camping. So some of this gear that's in the garage could have been missing. Or maybe the character could have commented about well, their gear's still here, so maybe I guess they didn't go fishing. Or even though the car's gone, all of our old camping gear is still here in the base in the garage. Yeah, exactly. I just if only there'd been something mentioned in the story about it, just to kind of again the further either throw us one way or the other, have us more second guessing even further, right?
Yeah.
Then we get this line here, which baffles me. I didn't plan to use it to hunt or anything, just to defend myself until I made it out of town. He's referencing a goddamn crowbar.
Yep.
I didn't plan to use it to hunt or anything. Mind you, he's sleep deprived in this moment. So
Is he though? Because he's yeah.
yeah. It's just a weird thing to say about a crowbar. I mean, he's not unless he's Gordon Freeman.
This is true.
The man who can use a crowbar for anything.
Mm-hmm.
That one's for you, gamer.
Damn, I figured as much.
Yep.
Or Morgan.
No, Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman.
I'm aware.
Okay, Gordon Freeman. Yeah, Gordon Freeman. Like we never hear his voice.
Play Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, we never hear Gordon Freeman doesn't have a voice because he's like the silent protagonist character. But if he talked, I imagine it would be Morgan Freeman.
Was he a Pokemon now? He only says his own name.
Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll move on.
Yeah, okay.
I fell asleep so fast that I almost didn't get to set an alarm to wake me up around midnight. It went by fast, however, and this time I finally had some dreams. Nightmares. I can't remember much of them, only bits and pieces. Something crawling into bed next to me, speaking into my mind, trying to undo the seams of my very soul so it could take a peek inside. And that was when Clancy was usurped by the Mimics. Or everything from now on is Clancy being manipulated by a mimic's mental capabilities, as we've kind of deduced throughout the rest of the story. Because, like, yeah, this feels definitely like he's being like psychically attacked while sleeping.
A little bit.
Or it's paranoia. It's a paranoia-induced dream. Where he thinks he's being attacked by a mimic, but really it's just like his head like getting too paranoid and crazy. So again, second guessing stuff. And the next thing here, it's the one that wants to take my place, I concluded. That threw a wrench in my plans. If it would chase me into the wilderness, I couldn't get the rest I desperately needed. But then again, if I could lead it far enough away, I could take it on one-on-one. How strong could it be if it couldn't open a measly basement door? I mean, it might not have been able to open that basement door due to some supernatural bane or geese or geas or geis or whatever the supernatural thing that prevents certain supernatural creatures from like doing a thing. Like it might like again like how like vampires can't come into your house uninvited or like that kind of thing. Like that's a geese.
I like the idea of supernatural geese.
Yeah.
Like the ones that like fly and shit all over the place. And
I mean, geese are terrifying in mundane forms, but
supernatural ones though, ooh.
Oh man. Also, I can't remember. It's such a weird word. It's like geese. See if I can.
I'm sure one of the pronunciations you said was right.
Yeah, I can't even look at it. I can't even find it online. Like how to spell it. I'm trying to like find a way to spell it, and it's like, no, that's not going to work.
Can't even get the spelling of it.
Well, because I don't know what the spelling is.
Yeah,
it's like such a weird, like it's such an odd word. But yeah, basically means like you are supernaturally prevented from doing a thing, or you are compelled to do something because of this trigger. But yeah, that's my thing. It's like, what? It can't even open a measly basement door. I mean, maybe the basement door wasn't. Maybe the physicality of the basement door wasn't the problem. Maybe it was something on a supernatural level. Maybe this thing's just like super strong. But
or just the door to the basement has locks on it.
Yeah. Or, you know, I can take this thing one on. I could do this all day as I'm super sleep deprived and not at my best. Been doing a lot of smoking too lately, so my respiratory system's not doing too good either. But then he just like reloads his cuffs like I got this.
What was that from? Mission Impossible or something?
Yeah, it's from one of the Mission Impossible with Henry Cavill.
Reloading his quote unquote guns.
Well, apparently, like what he's doing is like just like basically like loosening his cuffs.
Yeah,
but it's still
But it's
silly.
hilarious.
It's still hilarious when you like add like gun sounds to it.
I made a Shadowrun character to use that as his like not somatic component, but like the moving component. Is that somatic? Actually, 'Cause
Somatic
verbal is
is-
words.
Somatic is hand gestures.
Yeah, so that is his
Yeah.
somatic component to like turning on his like electric fists through his
Yes.
Mystic Depth powers. Also, sorry, Mike, we talked about Shadowrun.
Yeah. Sorry, Mikey.
We should just play Shadowrun with him once. So that
Yeah. So we don't have to do
drop
this.
this
Yeah,
pit.
yeah. I'll just run Shadowrun for the Saturday game. So the
Yeah.
Saturday night crew. I bet honestly, like our Saturday night crew would love that game.
Mm-hmm. Fistful of dice.
Anyway.
How can you go wrong?
Yeah, true. Anyway, let's continue. Where the fuck am I?
We were talking about Shadowrun.
Sorry, Mikey. Here we go. Yeah. So the next thing here. For a brief moment, I regretted that Sarah never recorded the voices of the two officers that went down into her basement. Oh my. Sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. I was certain that if she had, I would have recognized them right away. But you did hear a gaggle of voices over the recording, didn't you? Like, the recording did have a bunch of voices that the Mimic was like cycling through when talking to Sarah, right?
Well,
So-
yeah, but I don't know if the Mimic went. I am switching over to Officer Davis now.
No, you're right. Yeah, but or Officer Buckets. But Clancy might have recognized one of the voices of the cops through that recording.
Maybe
But yeah,
if you had the time to sit down and listen to it again, maybe. But it was
Yeah.
a one-off.
yeah, and it's never been established that Clancy has like eidetic memory or anything like that. So
Also, he's incredibly sleep deprived.
exactly that too. Yeah.
I feel like that's the other out
Yeah.
on this. Is just it's a mimic. He thinks it's a mimic. Or he's tired. Those are the three.
Yep, that's definitely that's perfectly valid for the
Mhm.
situation. Also maybe a little drunk because he was sipping on a beer for most of the day.
Oh, I suppose.
But again, he was nursing the beer. He wasn't really. He probably didn't get drunk from that.
hmm
But regardless, the next thing here, one of them got a hold of my backpack and yanked me, throwing me to the ground. I landed face first into the mush of the leaves and dirt. Did you spin around? That's impressive. Because like when I think of somebody like grabbing your back, like a backpack on your back, and pulling you back, and you land, I picture that you land on your back, not like spin around and hit the ground with like face first.
I don't think it was a spin. It's more like someone grabbed his back, so it's like, oh shit, and he's pulling forward to try to break their grip, and
Yep.
then the backpack rips, so he faces.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you went forward then.
Yeah.
Or I mean, another one to counter my own like, like you spun around. That's impressive. Is that the guy grabbed the side of the backpack and just turned him slightly on the side, which would allow him to like spin a little bit to land face first.
If you would like it to be more dramatic with a spin, I will accept.
Okay, yeah. I'm picturing a full blown like Jackie Chan spin, like where like he like hits the guy and the guy just does like a full like 360 spin.
Oh yeah, like he does like a freaking 540.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like from Shanghai Nights, like when he like when he's like fighting the goons in like the street, and like the two of them just go like just do like full 360 spins and then hit the ground.
Speaking of, because apparently I'm the main character.
Do you seriously just watch Shanghai Nights?
I watch Shang-Chi, Legend of the
Hmm.
Ten Rings, which
Okay,
is
yeah.
Marvel basically doing a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah, it's a Jackie Chan superhero movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, because like a lot of the moves that they did were inspired by old Jackie Chan films. Like they wanted to pay homage to it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I'd be way more impressed, gamer, if you would actually just like watch Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights.
That exact one, yeah.
Yeah, like that would have been like so scary.
Yeah, I mean it's partially scary that it's a Jackie Chan like movie.
It's less though because like it's. I mean like that's plausible. Like that's still like within like a decent plausibility rating.
I'll take plausible. Let's move on.
Yes. So the next thing here. So this is like after like Sarah's convinced him that like he's just going crazy and like we're gonna get you help and let's go talk to the cops. They blah, blah. We left the cemetery, finding Amy and the two officers waiting outside. I apologized profusely while they laughed and assured me all was fine now. They took their keys back and left, and we got into Amy's car to do the same. At this point, I was like, this is so fucking dumb. This has to be a fake out. There is no fucking way that cops are going to just laugh off the theft of their car and let you go on your way. Like, I mean, I'm sorry.
He's a minor, I think.
No, he's not. He's in his 20s.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know how young this guy is.
No, yeah, he's in his 20s because even it's established early on, like he's in his 20s. So,
I like how your proof is early on. It said it's in his 20s. I swear. Go look it up.
Yeah, go look it up. Yeah, like legitimately, like.
How would I look that up? Look up 20s.
No, but like.
I'm not gonna bother.
Okay, you know, like I assure you, he's in his 20s.
That's fine. I think what switched it for me, specifically around the end, is when he said like he doesn't have his license and he's barely driven.
I mean that's fine. Like I mean, again, if you're a city kid, sometimes you don't have a license and stuff until your mid-20s or so.
That being said, I'm also 35 and I don't have my license and I'm barely driven.
Yeah, exactly, gamer. Yeah. Maybe the kid's just lazy.
Yeah, but I don't need a car. I ninja run everywhere. It's so much more efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah. And then I have an update of yes, it is, of course, because like again, that it's just this was such an idiotic like, not idiotic, but this was just such an obvious tell that something is wrong because like it's just like brushing past like, oh, it's fine, don't worry, kid. Here, just get some help tomorrow, and like, we'll leave you with a slap on the wrist here.
Dude,
slap on the wrist being, yeah,
it's paperwork that they would have to do. They could be really cool cops. Their boss could be like, okay, the parents called in, the kid's insane. Don't go too hard on him. We don't want him freaking out and running away. Just let him go.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not giving the story that much of a pass.
Okay, you can do that. I won't.
Okay.
That being said,
yeah. So the next thing I have here, I made my way next to her, and she flipped the switch up next to the door. A light bulb down in the room came to life, chasing away the shadows in the darkness. The light also revealed the bodies of my family, the cops, and even Amy, staring back up at me with dead, blank eyes. Dun dun dun. At least that's how it should have been. Or like in my mind, like I wish that had been like what they'd gone, like they'd added on to the story.
On that?
Yeah. Because yeah, I added on like the light also revealing the bodies and blah, blah, blah. That's where I added the story. Or how I wanted.
If they did that when he's at the top of the stairs, he'd just run away.
So and then like as he's looking on, he's in a slight fugue state at that point, and that's when he gets pushed down into the body pit. Like we scrap the part where he tries to like joke about it, and then everybody goes silent, and then he gets pushed.
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess like him like cracking a joke, and then everyone get quiet and just pushing him down. Like maybe he's just like everyone was done with his jokes.
Yeah, he makes the worst jokes.
Yeah.
You're sick of his shit.
Speaking of, to think we both went insane over a bit of darkness, I said as I peered down the stairs leading to the bottom. Right? But Sarah didn't answer me. No one did. The room fell completely silent, and I felt a pair of hands push me from behind. I tumbled down the stairs, landing at the bottom. No! There it is. That's there. There we go. There's the fake out from earlier that I was hoping that I knew was coming.
Was that no in the story? Or was that you?
What?
Was that scream of no? Yeah, that was in the story.
Yeah, that's in the story. Yeah, it quotes no! Exclamation point.
There's no owner to those words. I'm assuming Clancy. Sarah would be like, no.
Unless it's Sarah, no. And then the next thing is like the door slamming shut.
Yeah, that's her saying, like, he's looking up at her like, can I come back up? She's like, no. Close the door.
Yeah. My son, my half brother / non-mimic mimic brother will look up at me screaming, "Save me!" and I'll say no. So that was a very large stretch to get to for a Watchmen joke.
Yep, a little bit.
But I'll move on. What?
I've also never seen The Watchmen.
It's not bad. It's pretty it's pretty faithful to the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But there it is. There's the fake out that I was promised, that I assumed I was going to be promised. Also, I gotta wonder, maybe this basement has some deeper significance to the ecology of the mimics. Like, perhaps Sarah's small house on her small property were built over a burrow or hive of mimics or something. And that's how that's like the basement of this house has become sort of like the nesting area for the mimics.
Or like the actual creature of the mimic itself is like the size of a mouse, and it comes in through some hole in the basement and just like basically alien face huggers.
This is sorry.
Go ahead. I was struggling to find the word anyways.
Okay. Or this is some variant of the Dionysus house.
Ooh.
Or the Dionisia house. However you say that word. It's a Latin. The house that's actually like a monster, a creature. Maybe the house itself is the mother mimic. Hence, because like mimics are generally like things, not people. But maybe the baby mimics start off mimicking people and then work their way up to like a gardenelle status or like a house.
I suppose.
Like, because they live in their mother, so much like people live in a house.
I see.
Yeah.
And then when they're old enough, they are quote unquote birthed from the house, aka they leave the house.
Yeah, and go to like find their own like plot of land that they can nestle down in and attract people to.
Yeah, you ever drive like somewhere and just all of a sudden there's a house there and you remember that was just a field a few days ago?
Oh, yeah, what it is like they start off as mimicking a person, right? And then they take that person's identity and go and like buy a property. And then they just kind of nestle down into the property and become
there would be no owner to the property.
No. And then that mimic has spawn, which then mimic mimic a person to live there.
Oh damn!
Yeah, that's the ecology of the modern day mimic. It's just it's a big old real estate scheme. Actually, I kind of fucking like that. Like, I kind of love that idea.
It's an interesting way to spin it.
Monster house hunting. But yeah, also, I do like this because it does add a little bit more certainty that, like, yeah, no, it's mimics. But also, like, it kind of asks the questions, like, because the cop car from earlier was also described as being like smashed in and like ruined, kind of wrecked, when Clancy came across the cops as he's like rushing to get out of town, right?
Yep.
Yet then we get like some things that were like Marcus is like he can't find any of Marcus's detailed information on his phone. So like, did Marcus actually exist? Well, like something happened to that cop car.
Been completely unrelated though.
It could be, but at the same time,
that he had to like bash off the road.
Maybe I don't like. There's again like the story just kept you guessing. Is really what it comes down to. And
I hate to say it, he's low on sleep and freaking out, and he's imagining that the front of the car was fucked up.
That's true. Yeah, it's like, man, that car's really fucked up. Anyways, I'm gonna drive it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too fucked up to drive, am I right? Says to no one because he's sleep deprived. And then my last quote here in comments is actually the last thing in the story. Stay away from this place, and whatever you do, don't believe another word I'll say. It might be one of them. Avoid Derpland at all cost.
I can
seriously
do that.
Though, yeah. Seriously though, I know it would be hard / maybe even questionably unethical to say a town name, fictional or factual. Like, I mean, like, it might be hard to say a fictional name of a town for the story, or it might be kind of questionably unethical to name off a factual town for this event and stuff like that. But like, come on, you said avoid a place, but you never give us a damn location.
Yep.
It's just this town near this city in this state.
It doesn't say near this town or this state at all.
No, I know. No, it doesn't. It just says stay away from this place at the end. I was being funny and like referencing Police Academy.
How dare you?
I know. But yeah, like it's like we never get a name of a town, so how do we know to avoid this town?
Yeah, the whole moral of the story doesn't really go anywhere because you can't take it to heart.
Yeah, like he really should have just like done away with the whole like stay away from this town and just left it with like whatever you do, don't believe any other word I'll say. It might be one of them. There, we're done. We don't need to bother with the don't stay away from this place because like we don't know where this place is at all.
And for like immersion purposes, because it's supposed to be fully immersive on Nosleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be a real town, not a made up one.
Yeah, I mean you can get away with some fake towns because like in the context of what's being said, like the thing about Reddit Nosleep's like plot thing is like you need to treat what you're reading as real. Like you need to stay in character even as a reader.
But how could you be fully immersed if it's a town that isn't real?
You have to. That's the part where you have to kind of like if they name off like the state, but it's a fake town, that's fine because like it's a town that's fake and it doesn't seem to exist in the state. But I mean, there's a lot of fucking towns that aren't on registries or are on registries that are so old that are like they're either ghost towns, but people are still living in them and stuff like that, right? So
fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I still think like either do away with avoid this town or avoid this place altogether and just like leave it with like whatever you don't believe another word I say because it'll probably be the mimic, or give us a goddamn name for the town.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so with this, we finally get a conclusive ending. Or did we? Is this all just a weird form of therapy? Like Sarah and the family pushed him down to the basement and left him in the dark as a form of like scare tactics or like shock therapy.
I actually have a note on that. Not so much as like as scare tactics, but more along the lines of we know he's just gonna freaking run away again.
So lock him in there
until we can... So lock him in the basement until like the hospital or the therapist and everything get here, so they can take care of him and take him off to the insane asylum.
That's true, yeah. Or
and if that was the case, though, I might as well just read that note.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like Plenty didn't like describe the entire basement. For example, like for all we know, there's a couch down there to sleep on and some food and water that they left. Like they prepped it.
Yeah. Never mind the fact that he like punched and kicked his like fingers and knuckles and toes into bloody stumps at the door.
Yeah, but he's nuts. He's
he definitely suffering some self-harm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it could have been like and like because there was no sign of fire or anything, like that whole thing kind of blew over. And like his parents and family didn't answer him when he asked to be let out, so that's kind of a red flag. But I personally think it'd be good if they just said, if they said it's so you don't run away again,
or something vague, like it's for your own
that
good.
is still vague. Or yes, I was just going to say this is
Sorry.
for your own good.
Yeah,
because those could still be extrapolated into mimics threatening him.
Actually, the best vague line for that would be, "It's better this way."
Yeah,
Because like it's better this way. How? Like, yeah, no, I get, yeah. I mean, it's also not the best plan because again, like he's self-harming, like by punching his fingers like till they or punching his knuckles till they bleed, and like wrecking his toes and like breaking his toes and stuff by kicking the door, like for hours. So like he's probably not doing too good when the hospital shows up. But
I say again, they live in Derpland.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, again, hence why we need to avoid Derpland at all costs.
Yeah.
Now, or it is in fact mimics all the way down. Yeah, it I mean, the story kind of already kind of insinuates that for the most part. Like
even Clancy's a mimic.
yeah, no, like legitimately, like there's part of it where it was like, is Clancy just gonna realize he's a mimic, or even like they kick him down into the basement and let him metamorphosize into a mimic or self-realize that he's a mimic down there.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe that's part of the mimic process of like realizing you are a mimic, or like sort of thing. Yeah, the weave.
Yeah, Sarah even says at one point, like they were joking at the time, but saying like don't
welcome
worry,
to the Mimic Club.
Oh, it says like young mimic refers to him as that.
Yeah,
So
my young
awesome.
mimic. Yeah, and like she's like it's insinuated that she's joking there, but is she?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing I like about the story is like the weave of is it psychosis or is it mimics was very meandering, like between the parents coming back, the cop car being smashed, and still working oddly enough. The cops like acting like just being relentless while chasing Clancy through the woods like bloodhounds. The little things that Clancy was seeing, like they could have been like seeing and hearing in people, and also like the shadows that he was seeing or the shadow forms he was seeing, like could have been in his head, but it could have been supernatural. It was very meandering. And then Marcus's information being removed from his cell phone, and even the blank tombstone, like we kind of get in the story even kind of gives us like an explanation here and there, like for and against what's going on. So like it was a very like the story continued to have you second guess what was going on. Like it tried very hard, I feel, to have the reader second guessing. I was like, is this going to be mimics or is this going to be psychosis? Until the very end. And like even and like mind you, there were some parts where it's like, oh no, yeah, this is leading up to a fake out. Never mind the fact that I can see that we're 2 pages away from the ending, and we've got to this part where like, oh, he's fine, like everything's cool. Like, no, there's gonna be a fake out. We're gonna get that Jason Voorhees like bursts out of the lake and attacks the girl in the canoe at the end of Friday the 13th. But yeah, that's my actual thoughts. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil. Take her away.
So, my first actual thought is from when he is handcuffed. As luck would have it, I'm pretty slim and flexible, so I decided to try a maneuver I've seen plenty of times in movies. I pulled my knees up into my chest, got my hands under my ass, and passed my feet between them one at a time, which makes it sound very easy and simple, but under pressure with 2 officers nearing me, it really wasn't. Like, wow, he is super flexible.
Yeah. So I guess he's a very lanky kid, a lanky young adult.
Wouldn't it be easier to do both legs at the same time? Like, how is he doing one at a time?
Yeah,
I guess I get. I'm trying to like pantomime it to see what they're trying to get at. But yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it just the fact that he says he's seen it plenty of times in movies and then successfully does it. It's like, what?
And he does
will,
it before the cops can get back up to him too. And yet he says it took him a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I will say the story like this was a moment in the story where it gave me like two conflicting, like it's sort of a gamer moment here where it was like I had to rewrite what I thought was going on, and I still think it's wrong. When he first like says like starts talking about it, it made it sound like he was sitting on the ground doing it, and then he said he was doing like one leg after the other, and I was like, okay, so are you standing and like putting one leg in front of like over it and some of that? Like, how is he doing it? Like, I for some reason
on the ground.
Okay, yeah, I guess he's still sitting on the ground, but the way it was written, like the way the latter part of it was written, it made me think of him like standing up suddenly. So,
I mean, I viewed it sitting on the ground. What about you, Mikey?
Yeah, sitting on the ground.
okay, so I'm just the odd man out here. Okay,
Fine.
story of my life.
Yep. Yeah, and my next actual thought here. I have this quote: "Their car was right there, and I realized that the engine was idling. In their haste, they left it running with the key still in the ignition." And my thought process is you can't just steal a police car, even if it's running. There are safeguards, at least in Canada.
In Canada,
Are there? What are they?
They have their own sort of dashboard that they have to hit certain key combinations to make it go.
oh, they've
Really?
got like they've got a code to it.
Also, what year is this?
What? Oh well, it is. So it's when it's posted online, like on Reddit Nosleep. So this was 2020, 2022, or no,
Yeah.
2021. Sorry,
Okay.
in December. So yeah.
So yeah, I can't even go like, well, it's in the 80s. They didn't have that shit back then.
No,
Yeah.
but we have one very very valid explanation.
Mimics? Or he's tired?
Damn it! I was pantomiming the aliens thing, and then you said mimics. I was like, damn it, that's not what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Like, Derplet.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Makes the
definitely
password
something.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. We've got like all the excuses. That's the word.
You sure you have to put the code in before you put it in drive? Like, I'm assuming they just showed up, put it in park, and ran out.
Well, even if the car started moving, they can radio in to remotely shut off the car.
Oh,
Dang.
well, the more you know.
Well, that's for
So-
Canada too. I mean, like,
Yeah.
is this Yeah, that's the other thing. We don't even know if this guy's from America or from Canada or from the UK or somewhere else in the world.
Hmm.
Like, I'm guessing it's somewhere in the northern hemisphere, based on somewhere in the western in the western world in the northern hemisphere, based on the context clues that we've gotten in the story. But there's a lot of countries in that, even in that that category.
As I said
And they-
before, the only thing that we have that could be that could let us have a regional area for it is the whole first floor situation,
Yeah.
which is like a British thing.
But was that also brought? Wait, that was also brought up in an Icker Falls story, which is in West Virginia.
That doesn't mean the writer's from West Virginia.
True. Regardless, I apologize.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Yeah, and the other thing is that Clancy is also a very novice driver, so the fact that he knows how to
Just say
do
no.
all the things.
Novice. Yeah, novice. It's fine.
Potato.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, fair enough.
Also, it's tomato.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alright.
Mikey, please continue.
So my next actual thought, I have this quote here. "I drove to the other side of town and rummaged through the car until I found something to pry open the cuffs. One does not simply pry open handcuffs.
Yeah.
You lose your hands.
I found something that managed to pry off the handcuffs. Keys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
All right. Do.
Like
And
they could have
then
left him in handcuffs for the rest of the story. Honestly, him having his hands free didn't do anything.
No, really doesn't.
After that, he just went to the cemetery and cried and got taken away.
And then once he got back to the cops, they would have taken the handcuffs off. Problem solved.
Yeah. So if they just removed that part and the cops free him, then that works.
Yeah. All right. So the next quote or point here is that I liked the blank tombstone, but the problem is there shouldn't have been a tombstone to begin with, because you have it engraved off-site and then placed on the grave. You wouldn't just have a random blank tombstone unless it's old and worn down.
Yeah, you wouldn't have an on-site chiseler.
Yeah.
That sort of thing's done at a literal shop.
If what happened was true and there was no body down there, like why would the headstone even be placed there in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird.
Yes.
So what I'm guessing here, so my guess, again, like going on the mimic is real plan here, is that Sarah / mimic Sarah is psychically projecting into Clancy's head a blocker so that he just sees a blank tombstone, but there is actually a name and words on the tombstone.
All right.
Hence why he also can't find any of for this at this point, because like it kind of is insinuating in this one that like something got into his head psychically. At this point, I'm not even entirely convinced that Marcus's information and stuff like that isn't still on his phone. She's just again putting a psychic blocker in his vision, like in his mind, so that he just can't find Marcus's shit.
Yeah, but okay, for a tombstone, okay, because she would basically be putting white out on the tombstone.
Yeah,
but in a contacts list, sorry, in your phone, would he just scroll through and then all of a sudden there's like a blank section on his contact list? Or would it be, basically she would implant someone else's name in there instead?
No, like she's edited like psychically, like she is preventing him from even seeing anything to do with Marcus. So like he's going through his browser history and Marcus is there, but he's skimming past it and not seeing it. Like he's just not noticing it.
So he's not even acknowledging if there's a blank spot.
Yeah.
So
and then
if it's mom and then if it's
Amy,
fine, Amy and then Sarah after that. Wait. Yeah, if it's Amy, Marcus, Sarah, if that was in ABC order and everything, he would just see it as Amy, Sarah.
Yeah,
with no, like he wouldn't see that there's a blank spot in the middle or someone else's name. He'd just completely ignore it.
Yeah, he just completely like his vision, like his eyes would just like glaze over it, as if it wasn't there. So it would go straight from Amy to Sarah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But that's just that's just like me like throwing that theory out there because like we already know that the mimics have some kind of psychic powers or power of suggestion. So
anyway, the next actual thought is that Clancy is actually the mimic. At the end, the quote, "The door of the basement closed shut. I tried to get up, but stumbled. so I skittered up the stairs on all fours. The click of the locks being latched reached me right before the lights went out, and I crashed into the door. And then he says, with a raspy voice, "Please, is anyone there? Sarah? Open the door."
I'm not gonna lie. I had a sense of dread as like, is this story gonna go a time loop? And Clancy was the original mimic in the basement.
Well, in the original part of the story, the mimic does mimic Clancy, and he says, "Please, sis, for fuck's sake, open the door and let me out."
That would have been a real fuck you if like to me anyway. if the author of this story, if that ADR had actually taken the same quote that Clancy Mimic had done in the first part, and had it laid here, I was like, oh fuck you. We're going like a weird Mimic Groundhog's Day, apparently.
Mm-hmm. That would be pretty cool. I won't lie.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like that would be a fuck you, and like, oh damn it. But,
as in, thanks, I hate it situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't actually hate it. It's actually really fun and cool, but it's also like, god damn it, you son of a bitch.
Yes. So with that, we basically find out that Clancy is the thing in the basement.
Dun dun dun. I mean, it was getting better at mimicking people.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Wow. All right, gamer, as always, you're up after that.
That's fine. So regarding like Marcus being killed, if he was actually killed and everything, Clancy says he was either captured or killed, leaving me on my own. The calls went to voicemail, however, so his phone was still active. So, is that the case? So, like, if I took a hammer to say the cultist's phone and then tried to call it, it wouldn't go to voicemail because it's destroyed? I assume that the voicemail and everything is on the network of your phone provider, and it would go to voicemail regardless if the phone is active.
Yep.
Okay.
That being said, he's tired. So.
Yeah, nice cop out there, gamer.
You're welcome.
Also, thanks for making my phone the one that gets destroyed.
I had to pick someone's phone. I can't break my own because then how would I call?
I suppose.
That being said, if you want to science that later, just let me know. Anyways, so moving on. I got home without incident. No one followed me, and I found the house still empty and locked up like I left it. Didn't he need to break a window to get in before? He didn't say that he found a spare key when he was in there. So did he like break in again and break another window and have to board it up again?
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit of a detail might have been left out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, it's like that key that he finds to pry off his handcuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found something to pry off these cuffs. A key.
My house key.
Yeah. My key. I don't know what the hell I was saying there. I'll stop.
Okay. But yeah, speaking of, I should have mentioned this in part 2 or 3, but if Clancy is living with his folks, why doesn't he even have his own key?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's another reason why I'm like, wait, how young is this guy that he doesn't have his own key?
It is established in one of the previous parts that he is like early 20s. Like I think he is like 20 years old.
Even more so then, he should have his own key anyways. I don't know why he had to get the secret.
Like Walter White, you're goddamn right. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, gamer. He should have his own key for his own house.
You would think, but moving. A firearm would have been really useful, but this will have to do. I thought as I retrieved the crowbar. Single quotes to dictate thought. Hell yeah! I've been suggesting that as an alternative for italics for so long.
Yeah, and somebody finally fucking used it.
Yeah. That alone is the reason that I recommend this entire story.
My God.
It's not.
Okay.
But also reading it, like it works, but it doesn't work. Like seeing it or thinking about it and seeing it in practice, it doesn't work as well as I thought it would.
I love it. It's like, yeah. But now that I see it, I don't think it works as well. Like, I just love that. Like, suddenly you have a fall from paradise. It's like, no.
A little bit, yeah. Because when I first read it, I did read it like he was saying it out loud, and then I realized, like, no, it's single quotes. He's doing something different. Yeah. But yeah. So I think the best option might be to put like a dash in front and behind it or something like that. Something completely different.
I was really hoping you were gonna say, I think what might be a better way to do it.
Italics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, never italics. Just have a complete flip around. Now I'm like pro italics for the rest of my life.
Yeah, yep. God.
No, never. But I'll move on. This is in regards to him about to go to bed in his room. With preparations complete, I barricaded my bedroom by dragging a heavy drawer in front of the door. Why just a drawer? Why not the dresser or the table that the drawer is into?
The drawer, like he pulled the drawer, the shelf, like the drawer out of the dresser.
Yeah, just the drawer.
Yeah,
it's heavy, I guess. Not heavy enough because I clearly just opened the door to get in to see him.
I actually think this would be a grammar inquisition because, like, maybe it should have said dresser, not drawer.
I don't know if it is. It might be a regional dialect thing again.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because yeah. I think it's supposed to be dresser, but I mean, it is supposed to be dresser, obviously. But it is really funny if he just pulled the drawers out of the dresser and just
just
them.
One drawer.
Yeah, it's one, and just laid it in front of the door.
Yeah,
it's like
there, I did it.
Well, we've established in our headcanon this is Derpland.
Yeah.
So this is. I kind of want to see. Guys, we need to script a movie, like a horror comedy parody movie, where the characters are in the town of Derpland and have these kind of bullshit, stupid fucking gags.
Yes. And nothing works. They always screw up. And basically just you watch the movie to find out who screws up the least. Basically, that's who survives.
Yeah, either I need to we need to script this as a movie, or I just need to start writing the Derpling Chronicles of creepypasta.
Mm-hmm. Or do it in a tabletop situation where players are rewarded for being idiots, but if you're being too much of an idiot, you get killed.
Oh man, yeah. So it's sort of like a Carcosa situation in some of the Cthulhu games I've listened to from Roleplay Public Radio, where the Ross, the GM, will be like, do you want to continue? So this really weird kind of sanity thing happens, or you witness this weird thing. Do you want to take a sand hit, or do you want to just go with the flow? And so the player can choose to go with the flow and not lose sanity. However, Ross is the GM is keeping tabs on the time, on the amount of times they are going with the flow of things, and they are slowly being assimilated into the realm of Carcosa.
Nice.
By accepting the reality that is happening in front of them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I might have to try that sometime.
Mm-hmm. But another way, back to my actual quote, talking about the drawer, this also might be another regional dialect situation, as in a short form of chest of drawers, which is what I believe what people in Britain call a dresser.
I was really hoping you'd just pull out another random country, other than Britain, or somewhere in the Philippines.
No, but that.
Yeah, no, I
get
you.
Also, Britain. Yeah. That's 2 for 2, first floor and drawer.
Yeah, so is this actually in Britain this whole time?
It might be.
It doesn't, but I didn't recognize any Commonwealth spelling in the story. They usually add extra an extra U in words and stuff like that. I don't think yeah.
Oh yeah, colors with an O. There's no U on it.
Yeah, so that's
Show
so
your
it's, so it's
colors.
the Americanization of it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless they when they wrote the story for Reddit Nosleep, they had it through an Americanization. Like for instance, my like Google Docs, I haven't changed it, so it immediately goes to the Americanized version of words. Right, so it always like comes up like leaves like a squiggly blue bar underneath a word that is when I type it as like color with an OU, right?
That's what-
So.
Mhm.
So maybe that's what happened with the Red No Sleep story. But I mean, it could also just be like maybe they're in a part of the U.S. that has like that kind of those kind of like localizations. Like maybe they're somewhere in New England or something.
Or they are like their parents are British and everything, but they grew up in America. I don't know why we were having to think of so much backstory on the author of this.
Well, no, not the
Trying to
author.
understand all
It's not
this.
necessarily. Oh, I mean, it is the author too. But I was thinking, like, yeah, it's also the character. But yeah, you're right. It is also we're speculating on the author's like upbringing to try to guess their like nomenclature and their regional dialect.
ThatExoGuy.
ThatExoGuy. If you ever listen to this,
and leave us your entire backstory so we understand.
also, sup?
Yeah. But I'll move on from there.
Yeah. Sup, fellow mimic? Wait, what?
But anyways, so after he's like flailing around from the night, opening my eyes, I found Dad on his ass next to the bed. His lip was split wide open. My mom was by his side on her knees. I started, but the words got caught in my throat. That was a pretty intense nightmare you had there, Dad said with a smile, rubbing away the gushing blood with his sleeve. I think I'll need stitches. So I'm not sure if he'd be able to get enough force to either knock his dad off his ass or split his lip open from laying on his back while sleeping.
I mean, if the dad wasn't sorry.
Partially because I imagine his body is possibly not giving full force into his punches and kicks in the real world, because his body's trying to sleep, but mainly because he's laying on his back on a squishy bed and wouldn't be able to generate much force without having solid footing. Like, would it stumble his dad back? Yeah. Would it make his lip bleed? Yeah. But would it knock him on his ass? No, I don't think so. Would he need stitches from it? I doubt it. From a single punch from a quote-unquote kid laying on his back on a squishy bed while asleep.
I have to counter you on this one because like the variables here, like first off, you're underestimating the strength people have even when they're asleep and like when they're like they're doing like night terrors and stuff. Like sometimes people need to be like held back by two people when they're experiencing night terrors and they're like freaking out and lashing out and whipping around. So like I've seen that, like I've seen video of that, like where people need to like even like a child needs to be like held down by two people because they are just like straining so hard in their sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, the whole thing of it is possible the dad just like again like he was caught unawares by the punch to the face, so he just slipped back and then like landed on his ass.
You mean like being caught unawares to a log tripping you in the ankles and just owning it?
Yes, exactly like that.
Weird thing to reference.
Yeah. So like I hear you, but I also don't think it's as weird as you're proposing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe we should science that someday. I'll have pizza right before bed. Like I'll come over to your house. I'll have pizza, a lot of pizza right before bed. Ice cream, pizza with ice cream on it,
and maybe some absinthe.
Sure, why not? It sounds like a good time. Then I'll go to bed, and you wait until I have my horrible nightmare, and you try to wake me up, and we'll see if you need stitches in the morning.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cool. You free this weekend?
No, not this weekend. Sorry, no.
Damn. All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but I'll move on from it. This is in regards to him, like after he. No, this is just in regards to him running away from the house, like going through all the backyards and everything.
Yeah.
Over the course of a few minutes, they gained. Oh, sorry. This is actually when the cops are chasing me. Over the course of a few minutes, they gained on me. I'm just an average Joe in an average physical shape. Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
sprinting and jumping over fences for 10 minutes straight before he ran into the cops. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe I could if I was fearing for my life and hopped up on adrenaline, maybe. But damn, I don't know if that's average Joe kind of dexterity.
Clancy's still. This is what I think from him like going to sleep and having that nightmare. Clancy is now a mimic.
Or it's just that's average Joe for a mimic.
Yeah, or that's average Joe for Derpland.
What? Everyone in Derpland is like in super good shape.
Yeah, regardless of like the fact that they smoke like packs a day and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Yeah, this kid, this 20-year-old has like is a
he
smoker
smokes
too.
too.
Yeah, he's a smoker, and yet he's just like he's running over those fences like fucking the guys from Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. Is he freaking like? Is the right term Gary Stew?
He's a
Where
little
he's like,
Gary.
can't wrong.
He's a tad Gary Stew.
Yeah.
Or he's just a Reddit Nosleep protagonist.
I mean, they're one and the same in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my last note's on the ending, but I kind of chimed in on most of that. I kind of wish, in a way, that it stuck to its guns that he was just going nuts. Because, like, every story does a twist ending. At this point, it would be a twist to not do a twist ending.
At the same time, though, I'm glad I liked that it was a mimic, or that it turned out to be mimics.
Mm.
Or was it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Like, but if it didn't switch to that, the whole like him writing all this down and everything, that could be because like he's writing this down on his phone and everything. That's fine. Or what he's actually doing is he's been in the hospital this entire time, and he's writing down a journal of what he experienced for the doctor to read.
Yeah. Or he's writing this last entry and then like the end he explains that like, all right, this is the last time I'm going to be on here because I'm going in for a prolonged period of rehab or to seek help and such.
Yeah, like at the end, just say there, I did it. The doctors wanted me to post what happened online just to get it out of my head and have it so other people can see what I saw, so I don't feel like I'm alone anymore or something like that.
Or like, because like I think that the first 3 parts were done during those nights, like when he was like it was happening live, right? So like and like he was typing up these messages and posting them when he had reprieves in between the different like adventures he had here.
Mm-hmm.
So this last one I think would have been cool if like the doctors wanted him to like post this so that it would give him before he goes in full and like they take his phone away from him and stuff because like he's going to be cut off and like kind of seeking help and such. They want him to post this last entry as a form of like closure.
Yeah.
To the whole situation.
Yeah, turns like when he's sitting in the basement, he's not sitting there typing. He's freaking out the entire time. He's not concerned about posting his messages because he's concerned for his life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because again, like the story kept us guessing all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's it for my notes.
Okay. Then I suppose we'll move on to final thoughts. Yeah, honestly, this part and the story overall was fun to read. Like it kept me guessing as to whether or not it was psychosis or mimics. Like if what was going on with like what was this whole situation going on.
Every time you say that whether it's psychosis or mimics or something, I keep remembering the old WWF luchador wrestler named Psychosis and imagining him chasing Clancy now in the tree. He's like a luchador that wore, I believe he wore like all black and had this huge like mask and had like skull stuff all over it. I have to look this up.
You're making me look it up too.
I believe that was Psychosis. Yeah, it was.
Oh my god.
Okay. Oh, it wasn't skulls, but it was black and white. Aesthetic.
Yeah. But yeah, even with the issues that we've had and the things that the plot holes and plot points that we've kind of poked fun at throughout this throughout our 4 weeks of tackling this story series. Like we were still following along with it engaged. And it was entertaining. So and it was even like creepy in moments too. So like yeah, I'm still going to recommend it. Like I'll give it a recommendation. This was a fun read. And it's a very interesting winding road of like red herrings and like is it or isn't it this thing? Like is this character going insane or is there actually some mimic conspiracy going on in this town of unnamed origin? But yeah. So Mikey, D stands for evil.
So the thing with this one is that I sort of like the psychosis side
Stop
of
saying
things. But the issue is that he just gives up.
Yeah.
And like everybody is so happy that he's given up, and even the police are like, hey.
Yeah, no, it's mimics. They're happy because yay, we've broken him. Now we can feed him to our young to get a new mimic.
But he, as the ending shows, that he may in fact be a mimic.
Yeah.
Himself, which explains how he maneuvers the cuffs and is able to pry his way out of them.
Or like Gamer brought up a little bit earlier, able to run to the edge of town from his house in 10 minutes by jumping over fences.
Yeah.
While
After
he's
that, have
sleep
enough
deprived.
gumption to still run away from the cops twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder if like maybe this is how mimics break in their young, or how they like it's like they have like a metaphorical egg that they need to hatch out of, and this is how they this is how they get them to hatch, is they like mentally break down the facade of the person that they're mimicking. Like their first mimic, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he does all this stuff while he's tired as anything.
Yeah.
Like, either he has a lot of energy, or the cops are just slowly going towards him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy,
Oh,
stop,
God.
please.
He's super fast. He's a super freak. Whew.
Or he's elaborating just for this story.
Yeah, he's
Like, the story is slow as hell.
Yeah, he's just flourishing this whole thing.
Yeah. And like he says, like the taser shot and missed. Meanwhile, he got shot in the back directly with the taser, and they're like beating with billy clubs.
Yeah.
Unreliable narrator, right?
Yep, exactly. Well, this whole story is like potentially unreliable narrator and gaslighting the story. Also, Mikey, you should be happy. They did away with the whole plot problem of the basement.
That's true.
By making it not burnt.
Yeah. But the fact that they had it burnt and there was a body in the first one, and then it's just sort of glazed over later on. It's like, oh yeah, there's no body in the ground, and there was no fire. See, look at the basement; it's perfectly fine. Like,
so you think it was written in after that to cover up the plot hole?
Yes.
I mean, that's potential. I mean, this is a serialized story, so they have the afterthought. They have the gift of afterthoughts. Like, oh, I should probably try and find a way to fix that.
I guess that's possible.
Yeah. Also, who's to say that the basement isn't actually burned out? And again, it's another psychic projection on Clancy to think it is not burnt up. Like, again, much like how like the things of like my theory that they've psychically blocked out the Sarah's name on the tombstone and such. They have really intricate and powerful psychic abilities, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah. But, so for this one, I'm partially recommending it, and overall, I'm still only going to partially recommend it.
Tough but fair.
I'm curious, what would sway you to make it a full recommendation? What is keeping it at the partial
Well, the
overall?
problem is the consistency. Like, it adds questions, but when it ends up that he's a mimic, it goes, well, why would that be the case anyway? Like,
I mean,
for
it doesn't
instance,
flatly say he's a mimic.
but it insinuates that he is.
It insinuates everything simultaneously.
There's
It's open
like
to interpretation.
Yeah, that's what they've made it like very like open ended, so like it leaves the reader to speculate what's going on or try to figure out what's going on, which is usually the sign of a good mystery story. But
Yeah, but we don't really get any closure with Marcus. The only thing we get is that, oh, the cop car has damage, so clearly they must have rammed Marcus's vehicle off the road.
Yeah.
Or it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Or it was coincidence.
And there's so much to question. Like, is Sarah crazy? Is he crazy? Is Amy the only non-crazy person?
Is the world mimic? Is the entire world in fact a mimic?
Yeah. Like,
Mimic
is this actually the inside of a mimic? And it's internal dreamlike state of what mimics dream of. They yearn to be free of the basement.
Do mimics dream of mimicked sheep?
It,
It's fair enough. You get your point across. I understand.
Yeah, there's just too much that the story gives at face value when it doesn't work that way. Like in the first one, oh yeah, there was a fire in the basement and the house is still standing. And then later he drives the police car away. In this one, it's like there's just so much that when you actually sit down and think about what's happening, they're impossibilities. And then it's partially explained that, oh, he's a mimic, so he has mimic powers, so he's able to get out of the handcuffs no problem.
Yeah, he just he didn't actually find an item. He just unconsciously morphed his hand into a smaller hand.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not giving this a full recommendation.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I wonder if some of that is just due to not doing a huge deep dive on research. Like, I didn't know like cop cars had a code yet to put in them. Like,
well, that's again
know that.
That is in Canada. I mean, maybe it is the same elsewhere, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is it my turn?
Yep.
So for me, one way or another, I was probably going to recommend this story as a whole overall. Because like the last entry would really have to mess up to change that. Because I liked the whole back and forth thinking about it, like if it's mimics or not this entire time.
Yeah.
Like that part alone was fun enough. And you said before, like we've been, well, I can't speak for everyone, but at least me, I've been relatively well engaged with the story to the point that I want to read the next one to see what happens. Like if for some reason the fourth one didn't exist or we couldn't access it anymore for some reason, I would be sad not having it done, you know.
Yeah.
But the last part itself went pretty well. It's quote unquote clearly left that mimics are real, yo, But man, the more I think about it, the less that could be the case, honestly, because most of the time there's a canonical side of the story that we tend to the story tells, and we tend to have a second or third side of the story that we sometimes like way better.
But this story has done that work for us.
Yeah, the whole point of this story is that thing, multiple overlapping ideas, and by the end, who's to say which one's true? And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's not one of the stories where, like, I must have more. I'm not a Disney princess on this or nothing like that, because it's 4 parts long, so there's already a lot of content there. And personally, because I don't think I need to have an answer set in stone for this, which is kind of unintentionally a pun or whatever on the gravestone that has nothing set in it anymore. Has no words in it. But yeah, I liked the story. I liked it all. I don't know, but I don't hate that I don't know. If you understand what I mean.
Pretty understandable.
Is it? Yes, you're saying nothing. Okay.
Yeah, no. Like I agree. Like it's that kind of mystery that like it isn't. It's a mystery that you're not 100% sure on, but it's not like pissing you off, or it's not like it's almost like a what is the word I'm looking for? It's like not conclusive. It's
Conclusive.
Huh?
Inconclusive.
No, it's like it's a satisfying mystery. Like,
yeah,
it leaves you content that, like, yes, this is still a mystery, or I'm still not entirely sure what the outcome here is, but that's okay, because that was kind of the point.
Yeah, and I've read stories before where you tell me the same sort of thing, where it's open to interpretation, and that's the point of it, and I'm pissed off at that.
Yeah,
but I'm not here.
And that's fine. Like, because like some stories are like not every story you're gonna like. So like, or like the way it's done and stuff. So
yeah, it might be just because it's a longer story, so it has time to flesh out the characters, and the characters were interesting in this. And again, as I said before, I liked the whole back and forth of, is it mimics? Is it real life? Is it just fantasy? Is he
yeah.
landslide?
He was almost caught in a landslide when they were running up that hill.
That's true. Yeah.
Also, so I just want to bring up, I like how like in the first, I remember in the first part we talked about how Amy was like just this like one-off character, and you were really hoping that she'd come back, and I was like, nah, I mean, she doesn't have to come back, and then she became a fleshed out character in this to a degree.
Yeah, for sure. Because like she has more dialogue than Sarah does, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not, but either way,
they might have equal parts.
Mm-hmm. So that's a long way of saying I'll recommend it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I like the story. It's not perfect, but we can't all be Who's Phone.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Who's Phone has a movie now.
It does. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah. Coming soon to Patreon. But yeah, 2 recommendations and 1 partial recommendation, so 2.5 recommendations out of 3. And do with that what you will, internet. So that'll be this week's episode. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter, so you can talk to us there. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W at the end, because his name is very long. And I'm at Review Cultist. If you'd like to send us emails, you can go to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, Reddit Nosleeps. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't do a yeah. So
I did.
You were muted then.
I was not.
It didn't go through at all.
I'll give you another one.
You cut off.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was kind of channeling that a little bit. I might have to turn up the mic gain on this or whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, please continue.
This is also gonna be really funny if like it actually did pick up, but like my microphone didn't pick, my headset didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, 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 yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, I know. All right. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void.
Screaming in a basement with the door closed.
Yeah, be like screaming. Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. And without your authorship, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
Keith D stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.